Well, there was something else I thought maybe would be interesting. When I was a, when I was a little baby, this is what my mother told me. Uh, when I was 5 months old. Okay, first of all, we were in Norfolk and we had to walk 30 minutes to a river that goes by this rich lady's house, Mrs. Curtis, and she allowed all the Norfolk people to go there to swim. So we went up there in the summer, and Mother told me that when I was 5 months old, um, people were talking about how I would go underwater swimming. The other ones that were there, Sadie and the other ones, uh, and Mother told me that I swam all across. It was called a creek. It went a long, long way both, and went through their property and continued on. But it was wide, you know. Okay, it was from here. You can tell them how it was from here to way the other side of that building. So I don't know. And I was 5 months old, and I swim underwater all the way across. And when I got across, everybody, I could hear everybody talking about it. And my mother, and I heard my mother. My mother said, I heard her say, you know, Sylvia's all right. She's a good swimmer. But but before I got over the other side, my mother got panicky and thought I was drowning. And then I got over the other side, and I was waving Mama and Dad and all them to them. And then of course well, this was all underwater over there. So I did the same thing going back. And and when I got out of the water, my mother said to me, "You're showing off, Sylvia. Don't do it." And I thought that was funny. I thought it was a big charge, 5 months old, and I swam all the way. So I'd always swam underwater from the time I was a little girl. And Mother said nobody taught me. I just got in underwater, and the first time it happened, they ran to pick me up, and I said, "What's the matter? There's nothing wrong." So I've always remembered my mother telling me that. I'm just 5 months old. So to this day, I just love water and swimming all the time. I think that's all I'll say for now.
I
Bye-bye.
always joke around and say my mom's a fish out of water.
Yeah, I think that's what Mother said.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, so I did it every year, to show off.
Yeah.
And of course, I did it more than once and I could hear people say, "Oh, they're talking in the." I remember them talking in the background. I can remember doing it, and I was 5 years old the first time. But I think it was because they made such a big thing out of it.
You got a lot of attention.
Yeah, they were all people we knew, neighbors, because that's the only ones that were allowed in the pool. Was the certain, there was about 20 families that were allowed in her, because it was her private place. And that was a Mr. and Mrs. Curtis. And I always remember the name of that lady being so nice, you know. So, and when the the creek, as they called it, I call it a river. In the winter, I took my skates up and skated. And get this, my parents were too poor to buy me a skates. So I used Daddy's skates, and I packed them with about, I don't know, 10 I packed it full of my father's thick socks so I could use it. How about that? And then when I was about 10 years old, my brother Stanley, who was 11 years older than me, he bought me a bike for Christmas because I was using my father's bike, a big grown-up bike with a man's bar on it. And so some days I drove 7 miles on that bike in later days, in the summer. So we had a ball. I rode my bike 7 miles to Foxborough, where there's a chocolate factory there, because I had a boyfriend there. So, and every time I went over there, he worked there, so I got free chocolates. But then I outgrew all that stuff. So I'll say goodbye. That's enough for today.
All right. Thanks for watching, and as always, the fun never ends in Sea Sparkles Corner. Feel free to share. Feel free to subscribe. Hugs and kisses from my family too. Thanks for watching. Bye, everybody.